this is wmpyr. For today's video, I want to talk about the three distances of combat in eskrima, in Filipino martial arts in general. And yeah, there's three. So it's basically far range, medium range, and close range. Those are the three, nice and simple, right? The general idea for all three is pretty much the same. However, there are some specific differences. There are some unique characteristics for each range, and that's what I want to cover today. So when you, okay, so the first thing is, let's do the 5 angles of attack form. Nice and simple place to start, right? So it's a diagonal, diagonal, horizontal, horizontal, and step, okay? So when you have a distance with your opponent, the way that you should be doing this is you can emphasize more on speed, okay? So you're going to be doing this, and you want to definitely 100% emphasize mobility. So you're going to go boom, and you see that I hit, that's my number 1, and I got out of there really quick, okay? So I'm moving, here's my number 2, and I'm ready to do number 3, okay? Number 4, and then I'm constantly moving, and here's my number 5, which is a stab. So mobility is the most important factor. You can, once again, if you're going to do a speed, then the number 1, instead of going number 1 like this, like we do in practice, where number 1 goes like from here all the way down here, okay, you could just go boom, like this. That could be my number 1, where it's just right there, okay? Number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very small movements, but I'm moving and I'm not committed at all, okay? So I could be doing that towards their hand, defang the snake. I'm attacking their weapon hand, the hand that's holding the weapon, and I'm not committed. I'm just boom, boom, trying to keep it super safe, have as much distance as possible, and using my speed to my advantage. Now there are also times where I could be using power, for sure, without a doubt. And if they do have a weapon and they're holding it, I could test the grip, and I could also test how they're going to respond. So I could swing, same number 1 motion, which is just a diagonal down. I could do this and hit incredibly hard onto their weapon and see what happens, you know. Are they ready to counter, or is this going to throw them off, and are they going to be open now? But either way, when I do it, boom, I'm so committed. You see, I'm fully committed right here, and then I know that I'm vulnerable, so I'm going to get out of there as soon as possible. And I'll probably include some strikes like this to give me a safe passage on my exit, all right? So speed, power, whatever the case, mobility, mobility, mobility. That's when you have the distance. So in medium range, the idea here is if you're going to hold the middle ground, okay? Now, of course, in the middle range, you have the option to get closer, or you have the option to go back and have distance. But that's not really staying or fighting in the middle range. So if you are going to be in the middle range, you're going to hold your ground right here, and what you want to do is you want to have a compromise between having a good base and nice and powerful strikes. So now the way that I'm doing the 5 angles of attack is right here, okay, with a good solid base. I'm facing square, I'm squared up, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm putting in power, and notice that I'm not committing this much. If I turn my body all the way, then in distance range, I have the luxury to get out, okay, because we have the distance. But here in close, if I do something like this, now they're going to be attacking me, and I don't want that. I want them to do something like that while I can continue and hit them hard, you know. So I want to be, if they do a huge haymaker like this, if that doesn't knock me out, or if that doesn't take me out of the game, then it's going to take some time for them to recover for their next shot, whereas I'm already going to be boom, 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 boom. I can continue on with my attacks. So in the middle ground, it's a compromise between power while maintaining your base. So keep that in mind, and the way you should be doing that from distance fighting to now medium range is different, okay? Even though it's the same 5 angles of attack. So now in close range, when you're in close range, the way you want to do things, in my opinion, is you could even go 2 hand, 1, 2, side, side, and stab. That's still the 5 angles of attack, okay? So you could go two-hand, whatever the case. The important thing is you better be ready for grappling, because it's natural. That's what happens. People collide, bodies collide, and you're going to get into like a wrestling match. So because of that, if it doesn't matter if you're using elbows and knees, if you're not ready, if your body is not low, your base, your center needs to be lower, because that you're going to be carrying some of their weight, and you're going to be putting your weight back so you don't just get tossed up against the wall or thrown onto the ground. So you need to bring your weight down. So whatever attack it is that you want to do, I don't care if it's one of these boom, 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 where you're hitting them all over from behind and stuff, as long as you are ready to grapple. So your base here is much lower, and you're ready to put your weight in and struggle through. Like I said, you're ready for grappling. So that's the difference. Once again, the technique is not that important. It's more so, are you ready to grapple from here? So you could be striking, stabbing, that's fine. But see, I'm ready to shove with my forearm, to get an underhook, to push on their waist so they don't get their waist underneath me and throw me or something. You know, my base is wider. Okay, that's what's important, is to be able to be ready for grappling. Medium range, it's not grappling, but you're in a solid base to launch your cannons here. Boom, 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 boom. That you could keep going and going and going without so much turning your shoulder too much, because now you're going to compromise your balance, and you're also going to be so committed now. It's also going to be easier for them to manipulate your body that way. So you want to stay and just, it's kind of like one cannon going after the next. Boom, boom. You just want to be shooting your cannons, right? And then once again, from distance fighting, we want mobility, mobility, mobility. So I hope that makes sense. Please do your shadow boxing in those ways. Thank you for watching, and take care, folks.